So I've just got back from cycling the Rebellion Way with Ewan, and while we were out on our tour, somebody was asking, well, what do you take cycle touring with your son? He's thinking of doing it with his son, and so I said, I'd be really interested to know, what do you pack? So rather than a carefully curated, this is what I pack when I go cycle touring type video, this is literally me unpacking at the end of doing the Rebellion Way in Norfolk. It was a 5-day cycle tour with my son, Ewan, who's 12 years old, and this is what we had on our bikes. Bikes-wise, we're both riding touring bikes. Mine's a Genesis Tour de Fur, so I've got front pannier racks and back pannier racks, 3 bottle fixings so I can get to carry plenty of water, and it's sort of, all the stuff you would expect on a touring bike. My son's riding basically a mountain bike, but with touring tyres with a pannier rack attached to it, full-size pannier rack. He's on a 26-inch wheel bike now, and so he carries rear panniers and a top bag on his bike. So that's what we carry everything in. So first of all, obviously, I have 3 drink bottles on my bike. These are the Camelback ones, which insulate slightly to keep the water slightly cool, supposedly. Honestly, I've not found them make that much difference. Probably wouldn't bother again. And an essential thing just in the little bag that's on my handlebars is Haribo. This bag was full at the start of the cycle tour. Haribo, the essential pick-me-up when you're doing a long day cycling for young people. Then all the standard things. Ewan had waterproof leggings. Waterproof wise, we don't have a fancy cycling waterproof for this. We just use his standard outdoor, what we use for walking and everything, waterproof. Does the job. You don't need to have a dedicated cycling waterproof. Then I've got a Cowardice, old-fashioned handlebar saddlebag that I've been using for years. In one pocket at one end of it, I keep all the sort of essentials, a bit of oil, a lighter, my spare lighter for my stove, a set of Allen keys, your standard tyre levers with some electrical tape wrapped around it, so I've got some tape there if I need to do a bit of repair things with that. An additional way of removing tyres, this is the tyre glider, makes life a bit easier on some tyres. Multi-tool spanner, old school one, couple of a little screwdriver that I need for actually taking the batteries out of my heart rate monitor, and a sort of multi-tool with screwdrivers and a couple more Allen keys and all the rest of it. I'm probably a bit overboard on some of those bits. One of those things that I know I really ought to sort out and actually make sure I've got exactly the right tools that I need to do everything I need to do on my bike, etc., but not carrying stuff I don't. I've never got around to doing it, so I just have this sort of hodgepodge of bits and pieces that I keep in there. In the other little pocket, I have 2 inner tubes for my bike, and obviously the obligatory puncture repair kit. So 2 ready to use inner tubes and a puncture repair kit, so that should keep me going. And actually, despite the fact we were cycling in Norfolk with all the flint that you get, both of us survived without a puncture. So it just goes to show some good solid touring tyres keep you going. Inside I have a couple of locks. They're not great locks. These wouldn't be ones I'd want to leave my bike in a busy town unattended for a long period of time, but if I'm just nipping into a cafe to get a coffee, it just means somebody can't walk off with my bike. Sometimes there's nothing to lock to, we just lock the 2 bikes to each other. That again just means somebody just can't easily walk off with them. This is one of my luxuries, a recent purchase, little fold-out stool. I do find when sitting at the tent in the evening, brewing my coffee, doing my breakfast, whatever else it might be, a stool is quite a nice little addition to have, so that is a new favourite of mine. A cap which I can put under my helmet if it's a bit wet. Then my waterproof. This time I didn't bother taking my dedicated cycling waterproof. To be honest, it just seems to let water through. When I'm touring, close-fitting waterproof, not that beneficial. So actually I'm wearing my Sprayway waterproof, which I won in a competition. There's a video about it on the channel elsewhere. Absolutely fantastic Gore-Tex waterproof, but it's perfect for cycling as well. It comes down long enough over my backside, really waterproof, and it's the driest I am in long periods of rain is wearing that. It's a works of treat. Bit of skin cream. Ewan gets dry skin, so we have that. Obvious requirement of having a suntan lotion. I do carry some overshoes with me in case I'm riding through particularly wet conditions. Obviously a first aid kit, I'm not going to go through in detail what is in there, but just perhaps some things you might want to know about that perhaps isn't the standard first aid kit stuff. Do have a space blanket in the event of, one of us having a bit of a crash or whatever. You want to make sure you can stay warm until you can get things sorted out. And the other thing I have in there actually, I have a few painkillers, and I have an emergency tooth repair kit. That actually started during COVID, and I just decided to keep on carrying that around with me. And a bit of sanitizer should you need it. So that's instant access in my saddlebag. One of the things you'll note as I'm going through this, I'm not particularly touring light. If I'm touring on my own, I strip it down a bit more. But when I'm touring with the children, to be honest, it's not going to be the issue that I'm carrying a lot of weight on my bike. The weight on my bike is not going to be my speed restrictor. I'm keeping to pace with my children, actually carrying a bit more weight. I'd rather have a comfortable time for them, make sure I've got everything I need. They're not panicking, I'm not panicking, and it gives me a bit more of a workout on the hills, so it's good for me as well. I have a handlebar bag. This is the stuff that I tend to just keep instantly, stuff I need. I carry a recyclable, reusable coffee cup because I do like my coffee. So if I stop at a coffee shop, I want to reuse one of those and not use one of their disposable ones. I'll go through that bag in a moment. A wallet. I bought this one recently in bright orange because it means I'm less likely to lose it. Arm warmers. So if I'm wearing a t-shirt and it's getting a bit chilly, I drop those on. Obviously, track mitts, that sort of thing. There's a spork in here. You'll see those scattered around in various places. The essential Swiss Army knife. Can't go camping without one of those. That's it in there, and obviously the keys to get back home afterwards. This black bag, dry bag, for obvious reasons you'll see why, is where I keep all my electrical bits and pieces. So I have a USB plug with 4 USB connectors. So if I get to a campsite or something like that where I can hook up, I can get and charge a whole bunch of stuff at once. And then you've got all your standard USB iPhone charging leads, USB to USB-C charging lead, my Garmin that would have been on my bike. This is my reader and a bunch of memory cards for my GoPro, which you're watching this on. Essential, big rechargeable battery. That can do about 6 or 7 iPhone charges, recharge my batteries for my watch. So if one campsite we go to doesn't have a charging point, a couple of the campsites on this trip didn't have charging points, that'll keep us going for a couple of days without having to start panicking. That's my little charging cable box for keeping my GoPro batteries in, because as anybody who uses a GoPro knows, it gets through batteries like nobody's business. So I can take 4 batteries with me, 3 in here, the one that you're watching this on now. Yeah, various other bits of recording gear, which I won't bore you with. These are really useful. USB-C, USB chargers go to the micro USB, but you get 2 off one socket, so that can be quite useful as well. I have a dynamo hub on my bike as well. So this does mean I can charge some stuff up as I'm cycling along, as well as obviously powering my lights. I can actually hook up to that as well. And I've got the cable around somewhere. It's in there somewhere. So basically off the front light, it's also got USB hookup, so I can then charge things like the battery while I'm riding along during the day as well. That can be really useful. So that's a handlebar bag. You're probably spotting I'm not travelling light. So, new purchase for this trip. Oh yeah, panniers. My old Cowardice panniers were starting to really show their age. I bought them when I was a teenager. They were starting to no longer keep any water out and weren't quite big enough. So I went for a slightly bigger pannier. And so far, first impressions from this trip, brilliant. Love them. Bit more capacity, useful when I'm cycling with the kids. Absolutely keeps everything bone dry. Absolutely great. So, what I've got in here. Dry bag full of my day-to-day clothes. So I'm wearing now the clothes that I'd normally wear in an evening. Either a t-shirt or a long sleeve merino wool top. And just a pair of shorts, which are the zipper ones, so you can add make them into long trousers if you want to. So that's my evening thing. What else do I have in here? Well, obviously I have a t-shirt. I have a pair of cycling shorts, obviously that I would have been wearing, a pair of leggings if it's a bit chillier to put over my cycling shorts. And then these are the zippy bits that go on the bottom of my trousers. I'm a park runner, which means normally if I'm doing a tour and there happens to be a park run on the Saturday when we're cycle touring, I would do it. This time we didn't, but I'd taken the gear just in case. So there's my park run t-shirt, my park run tourism buff. Another lightweight top I could wear for running, I can wear for cycling, I can just wear it casual in the evenings if you don't mind it being a bit jazzy. Variety of sort of running socks. I do take quite a few pairs of socks. If I'm touring on my own, I might take a couple and, you know, tie a pair on to dry out during the day, wash them in a tap overnight. Again, if I'm cycling with Ewan, Iona, it doesn't really matter too much, so I take a few pairs of dry socks. So these are the, you know, there's no shortage of socks with me. Just taking a sip of Asti that my wife poured me to celebrate arriving home. Then, this is my another cycling t-shirt. As you can tell, any touring purists will be thinking, Ian, you're carrying way too many clothes. Don't really care on a tour like this. Bib shorts, these were a new wear for this tour. I'd never used bib shorts before. Bought them from Decathlon. Brilliant, really impressed. Much more comfortable, and I really like the fact they've got pockets in the side of the short, which were great for slipping my mobile phone into if I was just moving to the shops, or actually even when I was cycling along. So great. I would probably be a convert to bib shorts. What else have I got in here? So I use a Trangia stove, and therefore I carry my mess in one of these, not just in the bottle you buy the mess in when you get it from the shop, but in one of these to make sure it's secure, this isn't going to get punctured easily, and it undoes slightly, and you press that and sort of pour it in. Works really well. Plastic bowls, you can get these fancy folding bowls and all the rest of it, but actually they take up more space in your panniers than these do, because you just slot those together and then you just stuff them full of other stuff that you're carrying anyway. So works fine. You do not need expensive folding bowls. Haha. Most people probably wouldn't take this when cycle touring. This is my laptop. In a bag, a laptop carry case in a dry bag to make sure it stays really dry. A good quality dry bag for this one. The reason is self-employed. I need to be able to possibly deal with emergency work when I'm away. I can hook this up to my mobile phone and I'm away. And also, long train journey there and back on this tour, I was able to work on that. And I even do some work in the evenings at some of the campsites. Right, quite a bit of kit. So, what do we take edible-wise? So, Ewan likes Crunch cereal for breakfast, so polythene bag of that. I make myself pre-mix it, so I've got muesli in there, mixed up with some dried milk, mixed up with a little bit of sugar, and then all I need to do is pour out enough for that day, squirt some water onto it, give it a bit of a mix, and I've got, you know, milk, muesli, works fine. Tasty, absolutely fine. Major luxury, couldn't go anywhere without my Monsoon Estates coffee. I grind up a load before I go, put it in a bag, and I like to have my proper coffee in the morning, which I use this cup for. So this is a cafetiere cup. Comes apart like that. You put your coffee in, put your boiling water in, give it a stir, and then after 4 minutes, press that down, just like you would a cafetiere at home, and just drink straight away. Perfect. Little pot of marshmallows to add to Ewan's hot chocolate. We finished the hot chocolate. It was in there, but that had hot chocolate to make Ewan a hot chocolate in the evening. Very important. So what did we eat for meals? So yes, a couple of nights we had fish and chips somewhere one night, but actually most of the time we just eat at the campsite when we get there. Ewan's tired at that point, children are tired, they don't want to get back onto the bikes and go and find somewhere to eat or all of that sort of nonsense. They just want to eat, so I need to be able to cook at the campsite. Our favourite are these from Aldi. They're their dried tortellini. They do a tomato and cheese, one with broccoli in, I think it is. They do 3 flavours. Dead easy. So you just boil up some water, stick these in my pan on my stove. 5 minutes later, they're done. We just chop a bit of pepperoni into it to give it a bit of extra sort of nutrition, bit of extra flavour, and I actually happened to grab some tomatoes when we were passing through one place to add to it one evening as well. Brilliant, great way of making quick, easy meals on the stove that taste decent. The children tried some of these dried in a bag meals that you get from outdoor places, costing 5 to 7 quid. Those cost a quid, and they prefer the taste of those far more than any others. The other thing that works really well is Bachelor's pasta sauce meals. So we use these. Again, pretty much the same process. 5 minutes in a pan with boiling water, you've got a meal. You don't need these expensive outdoor things. Instant coffee as well, which I sometimes mix with a hot chocolate to make a mocha in the evening. So that's food-wise for us. Stove, Old school Trangia stove. This is a stove I've had again since I was a teenager. It still works well. Has a bit of control, unlike a jet boil, so I can control the amount of heat. Just lights up with a lighter. I keep another lighter. You saw that other lighter earlier. That's how I do my cooking. Works well, dead cheap, get mess anywhere, does the job for me. You cook in that can work as a frying pan or as a lid for that. All packed up, dead small, light, it works. For 2 people, ideally for 1 person, but I can do 2 people by just cooking 2 lots of the pasta. If I was away with any more of us, you'd need more than that. And it is a bit slow making coffee or whatever, but I just do it over time. Another dry bag with the power supply in for my MacBook. I carry a little cool bag with me, not with anything in, but if I get some food, perhaps as we're getting towards the campsite, I spot something that I just want to make sure stays a bit cool, I carry that with me, barely weighs anything, packs up small, and that's great. Also in there, cooking bits, little spatula-y thing with a knife edge, with a drainer, which I can use for doing a bit of cooking and a spork for that, and a long-handled spork. If you are using those big bag meals, it's easier, just makes stirring easier. That was a little family treat to me, made of titanium. So that's one pannier emptied. Oh, and one other item, sorry, missed this bit. This is a guard for the stove. This makes a massive difference to how effective your stove is. So I just have this, it goes round my stove, and that keeps everything toasty, makes everything cook much quicker, keeps the wind out if there is a bit of wind, but I use it even when it's still. It reflects the heat back in and makes everything cook much quicker. What's in my other pannier? This is my when I arrive at the campsite pannier, basically. So that's food and clothes. So once I've unpacked and pitched, in this one is the stuff I need as soon as I get there. So it's got the tent itself. I use a Banshee Pro 200. It's a 2-person one. We've almost outgrown this for Ewan and I. Next year we might have to look at a 3-person tent. But that's brilliant. Exclusive to go outdoors. You can't get it from anywhere else. Sleeping bag liner. And in fact, when it's in summer weather, I pretty much just use that. I don't often use my sleeping bag if it's normal warmth. We use Decathlon's 4-class air structure blow-up mattresses. These are brilliant. Fold up nice and small, blow them up, got an air mattress. Comfortable. I used to use carry mats. These take up less space and are more comfortable. So, highly recommended. Another little luxury that I do love is my little pillow. Just inflates like that, and that is really amazingly more comfortable than my dry bag stuff with clothes, which is what I used to use. Obvious tent pegs, tent poles, and my Van Gogh sleeping bag again, which I think I've had for about 30 years. I've just had to buy a new case for it because my case had given up the ghost, but the sleeping bag is still absolutely fine, keeps me warm and dry. So that's my back panniers. Front panniers, what do I pack? Things, and I'll say about things I definitely didn't use. So these I use all the time. They're actually shoes, diving type shoes, beach shoes, whatever you want to call them. They're great because they pack up completely flat. So as soon as I get to the campsite, take off my cycling shoes and socks and just put those on, give my feet a chance to breathe and just a change of footwear. I took my trainers. This is because I thought I might be doing the park run. I didn't wear these at all. To be honest, if I wasn't planning to do a park run, I would just take deck shoes. I'd be happy wearing those around the shops or whatever. In the bottom of here as well is all my dirty washing. I won't share that with you. In the other pannier, what do we have? My other pair of cycling shorts. I carry a little fold-out rucksack. It's great, really useful if you perhaps want to go from the campsite to somewhere in the evening, or you want to get some food on the way to the campsite in the evening. You haven't got to try and find space in your panniers. You can shove it on your back for a bit. All of that sort of thing. Just need a bit of extra space for a short period of time. Absolutely great way of doing it. Towel. It would normally be in a dry bag, but for various reasons it's not at the end of the ride. But great to, it's one of those, what are they called? Microfiber towels. Works brilliantly. Running shorts, which actually ended up useful to take running shorts because they double up as swimming shorts as well. So I actually went for a swim on the last night. In the evenings, it invariably gets chilly. So I have a down jacket. It's a fake down jacket, but again, Decathlon for Class. It was a cheapish one. Works really well. Keeps me nice and warm and toasty in the evening. And then a dry bag containing our sort of standard bits and pieces that you need. So you've got your toothbrushes, toothpaste, soap in a little container like that. Bit of salve, so if you get this is from Tropic. Just helps if you get little grazes or burns or things like that, really soothing. And Vaseline, anybody who's a cyclist will know why that's being packed. So that's it in my panniers. For Ewan, what does Ewan pack? So, he has his own cup, carries his squash, so neat to make up. He has his own little rucksack, and then of course a sleeping bag. That was a recent Go Outdoors purchase, their own make. He's got his own one of those, and he had a spare pair of trainers in case one pair got wet. And then in his other pannier, he's got all his clothes basically, and a little inflatable pillow. He's become an inflatable pillow convert. Plus we have a plastic box full of flapjacks and brownies, so as snacks while we're cycling around. Clothing wise, he has a sort of standard clothes, t-shirts. He does have a proper cycling jersey, a sort of running t-shirt that he wears, a couple of pairs of cycling shorts. That's it. And then he's got a hoodie to wear in the evening and a pair of tracky bums. And that's our gear. That's what we take with us when we're cycle touring. Most of that, nothing amazing, no super expensive high-tech stuff. And yes, we could probably thin some of that down, but that sort of worked for us. And most of that we've used while we've been away. Biggest thing I would say, just get out there and do it. You don't need fancy kit. Just go out there and give it a try. But if you want to know more, drop a question in the comments. I will drop the full kit list as well as a written list with links to where you can buy stuff from. But happy cycle touring!